So when we're talking about pulling this hose or deploying this hose lid or this pre-connected line, we have to first decide and think about where our fire is and where we're going, okay? So we need to have a little pre-plan of where we're gonna go and what we're gonna do. We're gonna say that the apparatus is parked here and we're advancing to this outbuilding to the man door on the south side, okay? Everybody know what I mean by man door?
Yes, sir.
Man door is a normal doorway, just like that one right there. Okay, it's a normal doorway. That's a man door. So we're going to advance it to the south side of that outbuilding to the man door. Okay? In order to do that, we have to pull the hose what direction?
Straight out.
We have to pull it that way, right? Does that make sense to everybody? We can't just pull it halfway and come around here because it wouldn't deploy, right? Okay, so a couple different things that we're going to show you that you have to do when it comes to deploying this pre-connected line. First, we start up on the tailboard. As we get on the tailboard, you remember that there's a bite and there's a nozzle, correct? So we're going to need to pull that bite and that nozzle out and get it out in front of us to get ready to deploy it, okay? When we do that, we're going to have the nozzle on one side and the bite on the other. Now this is where the pre-plan comes into play. We said we wanted to advance the line where? Okay, so if we want to advance the line there, is that fire side?
Yes, sir.
Okay, does that make sense at first?
Yes, sir.
But what we need to do is we need to take the bite of the hose, which is going to have the significant amount of hose that we're pulling, and we're going to need to throw that away from the direction that we're going to be pulling the hose. So nozzle would be fire side. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
The bite of the hose would be on the opposite side. And if we're going to go that direction, we need to throw the bite that direction after we deploy the hose. Does everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
And what I mean by deploy the hose, that means doing what to the bed?
Unloading it, sir.
Pulling it out, how far?
66
Roughly
feet.
66 feet. Does that make sense to everybody so far?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so he knows that he's going that direction. He's already got it separated in the means that he needs to be able to deploy the hose. So now he's going to, with a controlled fashion, step off. Even though he still has two hose pieces, he's holding it with one hand and still using the handle to be able to step down for safety, right? Now he's going to start deploying. He's not running, he's not sprinting. He's deploying it in a nice, calm and easy fashion. You guys have to move out of the way a little bit. As he gets to his 66 feet and he clears the bed, he's going to look back. He's going to say clear, which means what?
The
The bed is clear. He's not just throwing it and saying clear. Once he deploys it out of the hose bed, he's glancing back, he's making sure it's visually clear, and then he took the hose and he threw it where?
away from the fire.
Away from the direction that he's going to be traveling. Does that make sense so far?
Yes, sir.
Everybody understand that concept? Okay, now we need to get all this hose and we need to advance it over there. So we need to kiss it. What does kiss mean?
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, right? So we need to keep this simple. So in order to do that, we want to separate this line a little bit. So as soon as he's deployed this, he's going to continue advancing forward, and then he's going to give it a little pull to stretch out this line a little bit more. See how he whips that hose? So he whips it and he separates it a little more, so he has an idea of where his hose and his couplings are. As he comes back, he's coming back towards where he's going to advance his line. So we want to kiss this hose. In order to kiss this hose, we want to keep it simple. If we took that nozzle and just ran over to the outbuilding, how much hose would be left here? A lot of hose would be left here, right? So we want to try to carry that hose and get it over there in the easiest form possible. In order to do that, what would be the best coupling to grab? If we grab the first 50-foot coupling, which is right here, would that be the best?
Yes, sir.
No. How about the middle coupling? The middle coupling would be the best. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Does
sir.
everybody understand that? If we grab the coupling closest to the nozzle, that's only pulling 50 feet, right? So we want to try to at least pull 100 feet over there. So we have to now figure out where the middle coupling is. Is this the middle coupling? No. So it's easy to find where that coupling is, right? We look at our hose and our engine, boom. Well, we don't want that one. we come to our nozzle, we come around. That's the first 50 off our nozzle. Do we want that one? No.
sir.
Process of elimination. We need that one. Does everybody understand that process of elimination?
Sir,
Does
sir.
everybody not understand that? Okay. So you grab the 50 and we start advancing. As we advance to this door to set it up for an interior attack, if he just goes straight to the door, are we going to have a big spaghetti pot of hose?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
He's going to come straight to the door. It's going to be a mess, right?
Sir,
So
sir.
he's actually going away from the door, and he's dragging all of his hose this direction and advancing it out away from where he's going to go, so that it makes it easier for him to be able to bring the hose back. Does that make sense?
Sir, sir.
Okay, so now he's pulled the hose over and he's got it close to where he wants it. So if he comes here, now he needs to bring that hose back over to the doorway. Couple different ways you can do it. If you grab that first 50-foot coupling, is that going to help you?
Sir, no, sir.
It's not going to help you, right? Because it's already tight. If he grabs the second coupling and brings it, is that going to help him?
Sir, no, sir.
That's going to start twisting probably as well, right? So again, he needs to separate this. So he's going to drop that coupling, he's going to continue to walk, and he's going to whip it again to separate it. He didn't walk all the way down to the tankers, he just walked a little ways to separate it. Now that he's separated it, he has a really good idea of what would be the best way for him to grab the hose. He could grab that one, but what's it going to do once you grab it over? It's going to come across here and it's going to start twisting, right? Look how nice and separated it is. If he grabs this and he grabs that, and he starts walking over to the door, is he going to have a coupling by his door and a nozzle?
Sir, yes, sir.
So is he going to have a majority of hose over there?
Sir, sir.
So as he's walking, you notice he didn't go straight to the door. He's again manipulating his hose so that he can bring it to the door, because we want our hose to do what? If possible.
As straight
Straight
as
in.
We
possible.
want our hose to go straight into the door as much as possible if we can. Does that make sense?
Sir, sir.
So where would it be more effective? Would it be more effective to pull the hose from here up this curb, or would it be more effective to put the hose on this nice flat pad and go straight into the door if you have the opportunity?
Straight in the
Flat.
Common sense, right? But we want to do this in the less amount of moves as possible. We don't want to make a whole bunch of moves. How many moves has he made from when the hose got here to here?
That one.
One move so far, right? Could we pull this line and advance it in right now?
Sir.
We could, but how much hose do we have back behind us that we're now dragging in?
Lot.
A little bit of hose, right? So could we do one more step and make it more effective and clean it up?
Sir, sir.
Sure. So he gets to his doorway and he does what with his nozzle?
Nozzle bell shut.
Nozzle down,
Bell shut.
bail shut every time. Did he place it right in front of the door?
Sir, no, sir.
No, he put it in his work area. What's a hose going to do when it charges?
It's gonna move.
It's going to expand. So we want to keep that 4 or 5 foot working space, right? So now, move out of the way. He goes back to his coupling. Now he's going to throw some of the hose up here on this flat area, because why not, right? It's only going to take him a second to throw the hose over. And now he's going to take his coupling, he's going to walk it right back. Notice where he's putting his coupling. Is he putting it on the left side, the right side? What side of the nozzle is he putting it?
The left side.
Okay, why? Because what do we want to do with our hose to the water supply or to the engine? We want to, what's this called? This is called railroading or flaking. We
Railroading.
don't call it snaking. This is called railroading or flaking, right? So we started with our nozzle where?
The right
Going
side.
into the entry at the fire. And where does our railroads and flakes go?
Towards the
Back
end.
towards the supply. So that when we pull our line, is it crisscrossing on each other?
Sir, no, sir.
It's not crisscrossing on each other at all. How many moves did this take him to do this?
3.
2.
One there, 2, 3. How many once he brought the hose over here?
2, sir.
Two
Two.
moves. Would this be nice and effective?
Sir, sir.
Absolutely. If you want, could you take this loop and throw it up on the flat right here?
Sir,
Do
sir.
you need to? Absolutely not. It's going to charge. A little bit of curb is no big deal. He's got a nice effective path straight into the door as much as possible, in line with his work area. Nice open, nice flakes, couplings are close to the door. He's not crowding his workspace, and he did it in a total of 3 moves. Does that make sense to everybody?
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay. as he gets to the door, now he's going to do his door techniques, his entry techniques. So he gets to the door, he flakes his hose, he grabs the nozzle, he looks at the engine, says what?
Water.
Water! Water! Notice he has a nozzle in his hand. He has control of the nozzle. It's not sitting on the ground. Does everybody understand that?
Sir, sir.
So, water starts coming. As water starts coming, what can he do while he's sitting here waiting as the water starts coming?
Fill the door.
No.
Try for
No.
Right to fight.
the stream. Change the
Right
stream.
to fight. He makes sure that his nozzle is in a straight stream configuration, right? Boom, now he's got water. What's the next thing he's going to do?
Take the air pressure.
He's going to bleed the air out of his line. Where at?
Away from the fire.
Away from his workspace, right? He's not going to flood this area and then drag his body through it. Does that make sense?
Sir, sir.
Okay, so he bleeds the line. Now he knows he's got a straight stream and he has all the air bled out and he has an effective stream. Make sense? Okay, now he's done that. He's going to do what?
Check the door.
Check the door.
No.
Oh.
He's going to get down by the door and he's going to now check his PPE and
Partners.
his partner's PPE. Why? We guys keep saying we're going to check the door, check the door. Right now I have no mask on or anything. I check the door and I open it, poof, and I get a big blast of superheated smoke and gas. What happened? I'm done.
Done.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So we do that after, right? So he comes, he checks his PPE, he checks his partner's PPE. Now he's ready to go. Now what can we do?
Check the door.
We check the door for heat. Two different ways we check the door. First is
Touch it.
Touch it.
back of a gloved hand from
Bottom to top.
bottom all the way to the top. We have high heat. What's the second way?
Squirt.
Spray the door with a
Short burst.
short, quick burst to the top of the door to see if we have any type of steam production, right? Or bubbling. Okay, so we have high heat. Now, what's the next thing he's going to do? Try before you pry. Where is he going to set himself up? Is he going to set himself up right in the door in the middle as you open it? Or is he going to use a barricade or a barrier that's already put into place for him to help protect himself?
And the walls.
So could he use this wall just like this to shield himself and be able to open the door?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So he tries before he pries, right? Okay? It happens to be locked. So let's say it's open. He opens the door and does what to it?
Slowly open it.
Slowly open.
He opens it, sees what kind of conditions he has, lets it equalize a little bit, kind of checks it out. Once he's done with that, then what?
Open it all the way.
Clears the door all the way. Once the door is clear, now what does he do? Wedges the door and keeps it from swinging closed, right? So he swings it open and then wedges the door and keeps it from being closed. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now what's he do?
Looking for a life layout and
He
He
location
puts
of
an
fire.
ear towards the ground and he checks for
Life.
Nice.
life,
Layout.
layout,
And
and
location.
location of the fire. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, once he does all that, he's ready to make entry. Does he just stand up and start walking in?
Yes, sir.
How does he enter the building?
Stay low.
Stay low.
In a low,
Low.
low profile. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Anybody not understand door entry technique?
Sure knows.
Good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You want to address hose between him and the fire?
We
They
kind of
al- they
already
always
did.
ask it later.
Yeah, we kind of already did this before, if you guys remember. Remember we talked about over here in the building, we talked about hose and where it is in position to the building and your body. So, if we're going to go straight into this building, where does the hose need to be?
Straight behind you.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's behind you or if it's in front of you if you're going straight into the building. Doesn't matter. What if we have somewhat of a partition right here and we're going to bring this hose in this direction into the door? We're coming this way only. We can't come this way. We can't come this way. We can only come this way and the hose is right there. Where should the hose go? Outside?
Outside.
Outside. Okay, so if it's outside and you have a partner and this hose is on the outside like you said and it's charged and he goes in, now what? What just happened?
Just got pinned down.
I get pinned against the walls, I try to make this turn, right?
Yes, sir.
So, if it's only in one direction, which way does it need to go?
Inside.
Inside.
Against the building, right? needs to go against the building. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Everybody understand that?
Yes,
Down
sir.
here in the middle, does it matter?
Yes,
Doesn't
sir.
matter. Everybody got that? Okay? The hose is coming this way. It's only coming this way into the door. Where should the hose be? Outside or against the wall? Against the wall. Against the wall. Everybody understand that?
Sir, yes, sir.
Anybody not? Okay. Grab this hose, drag it over there, and let's build it. Company captain, pick your position.